Do you mind if I open it up in prayer?
Dude,
Let's do it.
let's do it.
You good? Let's do it. So Holy Spirit, just inviting you here today, to just join this podcast, join Randy and I and just speak. As we speak, Lord, we're just praying that you speak. Let it not be us. You know who needs to listen to this. You know who doesn't need to listen to this. You know what words need to be spoken and not spoken, Lord. So I just say this all in your name. Guide this. Amen.
Man.
So yeah, bro. So
So,
let's,
so
what do you
Andy
want to do,
Rosas,
man?
I just want to talk to you. I'm so
Awesome,
excited
bro.
to talk
Let's
to you.
just
Like,
chop it up. I know this is
dude,
cool because can we do this normally, right? When we just see each other or call each other, it ends
yeah,
up being a long form conversation anyways.
yeah.
Yeah,
And often I think, man, something Andy just said would be so awesome for people to hear, And so I thought, well, what better format then than just to kind of pull back the curtain and let people peek into the kind of conversations that we have. And that, this is a really my main thing with the podcast is I just want it to be authentic, And so when we start talking about, Apex and producing podcasts for other people and stuff, it's all about producing that environment where you feel the most comfortable having an authentic conversation. Right? So it's just a white glove curated experience, and that's really how I try to treat the conversations here is I don't take anything for granted. I'm open to learn. I want perspective. I'm seeking it hungrily. Um and yeah, man, so that's the conversations. I bring on people that I think this guy is so cool that I want everybody else to see how cool they are.
I love it.
You know what I
I
mean?
love it. No, I love that, man. And I think something that just came to mind as I was hearing you is, and I think you and I have known each other in a different season. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm transitioning into a brand new season right now.
100%.
And I think you are too.
Absolutely.
So let's just give it rawness of like talking about what the season we're in right now, bro. Like the
Yeah.
press, like, right, the transition, knowing when God's calling you out of a season and then into a new season. Cause I'm in that transition right now, bro,
Yeah.
where I am being rebuilt, right? Things are hopeful and hopeless all in one season.
Sure.
Like,
Sure.
like right now I'm in it. Like it's literally happening. In 6 months from now, I could be talking to you as a huge authority in the real estate space again, and we'll be laughing at like, bro, remember when you came on my podcast, bro, and we were just building that damn thing, same thing with your podcast. We can look in
Yeah.
6 months, you're the number one podcast authority in the space.
Yeah.
And we'll look at, me being one of your first people on, or I don't know how many have been on, but like how cool that would be, to see, you
Absolutely.
know, so Faith, I guess we can call this almost like, doubt on purpose, or, still fearing, doubting, questioning, bro, but still walking in obedience as we're being called to a new season, a new business. So maybe we could talk about that. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, intentional doubt, bro. I'm here for it, man.
Intentional doubt.
That's my
Yep.
jam. And and just the nature of, the name of the podcast itself. Um I think it's interesting sometimes that some people interpret that as me saying, well, I've gone through all of the difficulty of life and now I'm on the sweeter side of it. And it's like,
Bro,
well, that's horseshit, right? Like that is clearly not what's happening. Uh, it comes in waves, right? Like
it does.
we enter new phases and people in our lives come and go and circumstances change and our priorities and we get older and we start moving things around on different burners, right? And so, um, sweeter after difficulty is great because it's not locked to a time. It's
Mm,
about and this is a perfect example. I think this conversation is going to be the perfect example because ostensibly once you learn to enjoy the sweetness on the other side of difficulty, the next time difficulty comes, you're not as resistant to it. Right? You're not like, oh, I'm gonna fight tooth and nail to it's more like, what does this difficulty have to teach me? Like my last difficulty did, you
Oh my
know?
gosh,
Then
big
you're in the
time.
gratitude space, right?
And gratitude in the difficulty,
In the
you know, like
difficulty.
in the difficulty, like, dang, bro, we've been here before. Now it has a different meaning, difficulty. You're not stuck in it.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm starting to think that mindset, and I'm not, again, I am still a human being. Like I have my days and my hours, just
yeah.
like everybody else. But I'm starting to think that being able to see the difficulty coming and actually in a way, um, like being excited, anticipating it coming because you're gonna be better on the other side of it is like, I think that's kind of one of the definitions of maturing, like as a person,
Yeah.
I've grown to this place where I'm not afraid of the impending difficulty, I'm embracing it.
So when you're going through the pain, it's almost like, okay, this pain, this pain's developing me. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
this pain
and
is showing me. Yeah,
how much better was I after the last time I went through something like this? And if I
it's so
wasn't
true, man.
if I wasn't though, right? Like, then what can I learn from that, and how can I do it different this time?
Correct. I think that's the key too, right? Like, because difficulty is going to come regardless. There's always going to be a harvest season. There's always going to be a season where you get your butt kicked and all that. So it's going to come
Yeah,
constantly.
yeah,
But it's what am I going to do when it comes again
yeah.
type of thing, right?
You know what I used to do, like, when I was younger is I would just brace for impact, right? I have pretty big shoulders,
Mm.
and I would just, like, just kinda, like,
Anticipating the
just boom, and
hit.
then it would either hit you or it wouldn't hit you, right? Either way, it was equally exhausting, and now I'm trying to take it like a surfer, like, this might not even be my wave, I'm just gonna duck under it and let it roll over me, and the next wave's gonna come, and maybe that one will be the one I ride to glory, or maybe I'll duck this one too, or
Yeah,
you know, um
I love it. But I will say this. So now, someone listening to this, because now as you and I are talking about this, the old me and new me are the biggest differentiator now is this is I can't self improvement myself through this. I cannot logically think through this. I cannot experience is going to make me a better person for the next difficult season. I
Mhm,
would tell you, Randy, it comes down to the difference as to why in this season right now, I would have anxiety again. I would lose my mind because my income, my influence, all that has been crumbled to zero. In fact, it's negatives
okay,
right now. And the only difference between then and now is my spiritual practice,
okay,
my relationship with God. Like that's literally the biggest catalyst as to all of this that we're talking about of pain with purpose, intentionality in this season, having doubts in the, on purpose, with purpose.
yeah,
Because I know no matter how I feel, who God is now, right? I have a relationship with God. And that's the game changer in all this
okay,
because it's not. So that's the kind of pivot that I hear myself saying this to you and then I'm like, yeah, you're leaving the biggest piece out though, because the reason why I haven't lost my mind right now and gone to alcohol, gone to drugs, gone to women, gone to websites, things that I would do, coping mechanisms that I would do in the past,
yeah,
right? Is my relationship with God.
yeah,
That's the biggest piece. That is the piece,
yeah,
I would
yeah,
say.
so let's talk about it. Where'd you come from?
Like background in the sense of my walk, in the sense of
I just mean in terms of, what's your testimony? What's your story? Where are you from? Where were you born? What was your family like? What was, I mean, you could talk about whatever you want, but I just love,
yeah,
I love to soak up people's stories and like I said, pull perspective out of them. And so as much as you'd love to
yeah.
share, I'd love to hear.
No, so and I guess So let's go back to, I guess, when I say relationship with God. So I guess let's talk about my background with God. Would be raised Catholic,
Okay.
right? Raised Catholic, and then that relationship, raised Catholic, and then also tried being a Mormon. So I was Mormon as well for an era, right?
Okay.
And then from there, you know, we can call it lukewarm Christianity, meaning, yeah, I believe, but I don't know, type of thing. This kind of works. I kind of know who he is. And then I would say 5 years ago, around 2021, like around COVID time, that's when I literally hit an all-time zero, lost my mind, my mental, like my the anxiety. I just fell mentally. I just broke. I was broken, and I've tried everything and everything to fill this gap that I felt. And then that's when I decided, okay, let me try this Bible version of God and go all in on this book and this guy named Jesus, I guess, who I didn't believe in back then. And I'm like, all right, let me just try this whole thing. So that's kind of a quick linear path on my background, on my walk, where I say now I have a relationship with God, where before it was more transactional. It was more because my parents went to church.
Hmm.
I went to church, but I had no idea who God was, type of thing. And then people let me down, Randy. People church hurt me,
Sure.
right? Pastors that were like double this, I
Sure.
guess, living a double life,
Uh-huh.
right? People that lived a double life. I saw a lot of people do more bad things under the name of God ever. I got into drugs from
Yeah.
people that were very religious, very spiritual, and I got into heavy drugs with those type of people even. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the? So the word God and all that kind of lost. God was misrepresented to me, which I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people. God gets misrepresented. Someone does them wrong. Church does them wrong. Society, life, something happens along the way that kind of skews their perception of what God is. Instead of themselves trying to get to know God directly, they try to use a podcast or somebody else or a pastor or a friend trying to go through someone else to learn who God is, and then they end up getting hurt or church hurt or person hurt or life hurt, and then they kind of get skewed. So 5 years ago, I said, you know what? Let me go right to God, direct connect. Let me get to know who the heck God is, and let me make that determination myself, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, every one of those things is pretty relatable. Um,
right? I would
I've
say a
been
lot of
church
us,
hurt,
right?
I've been people hurt, I've been, all those things.
Yeah,
Um, and having, played music in a Christian band, you know, quote unquote
just right,
Christian band,
dude. Yes.
for almost 12 years. I mean, we played probably 500 churches across the country in Canada and Mexico, like
No way,
all over the
dude.
place. Yeah, like tons of,
Really?
and we would roll into a place and we would do a full rock concert on Saturday night for the youth group. And then the Sunday morning, we would do Sunday morning worship songs for the congregation. And then we would go to the next city or whatever. So like
No, and you just traveled around
just
doing
traveled
that?
around doing that for a long time.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
And, but there was one really common thing that I found in every single church with no exceptions. They were all completely full of human beings. And there were various states of understanding that in some of those places. Some of them really thought that they had ascended past the point of being a human being
Really?
into this godly manifestation on earth. Uh, you know, and some of them were, doing what you were kind of describing, where they were talking the talk but not walking the walk.
Yeah.
Look, I think you nailed it, and I think you started going down the road a little bit, which is there it seems like there's this hole in the center of the human soul, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to fill it with something.
Absolutely, man. Everybody,
Everybody. We all
everybody.
fill it
The
with something.
atheist, the religious,
Because
everyone's trying to fill this
people
gap.
don't
Yeah.
understand that, right? They think the atheist and the religious person are so far apart, but they're not.
No,
They're
their
just
belief is
trying,
in something else. Yeah.
right? I fill it with science or understanding or emotion or whatever, or I fill it with God, whatever. Um, so, what do you think it was about Catholicism and Mormonism that didn't give you, or even lukewarm Christianity that didn't give you that feeling like you had filled the hole with God, like it finally did when it clicked for you? Like, what do you think was the difference?
It was I could say a Catholic church for me specifically. It was just the business model of it in the sense of the messaging. If we had to look at church like a funnel, a sales funnel, right? Bro, if you go into the Catholic church when I was there, I'm like, why would anyone want to come here? Like
Yeah.
this, the messaging, there was no message. It was very condescending, very, the scriptures reading was hard. The songs, we just said the same songs over and over and over again. It's like, what are we even saying here? So like, where am I? Like, what's going on? So I remember as a kid sitting there going like, what are we doing? What's the message? And
Yeah.
then as I got older, even it just, I couldn't even understand the father at churches because even the speakers were so bad, the audio so bad at churches, and you're like, I can't even understand what this guy's saying.
Right.
Like, do you guys know what he's saying? So there was no relationship, there was no like message that can help me go to the world. I feel like I would go into church, and then as soon as I would leave church, there was no equipping me for what was out there in the world whatsoever. Right. So
That
from a messaging perspective, I would say that that's the first thing that came to me in Catholicism. Um,
but I think that the reason why Catholicism is so appealing to people if they're going to choose a denomination of Christianity is Catholicism takes the work out of it for you, right? You really, it does. Like, you don't have to decide what scripture to read, you don't have to decide what song to sing, you don't have to decide anything. You don't even have to decide when you go to church, right? It's just like, hey, this is when we do church, and you show up and you do the thing. That's what makes it religion.
yeah,
And I think that probably the conversation that isn't had enough is you can easily fill that hole in your soul with religion, thinking that you're putting God there, right? Because it has God's name on the building,
right.
right?
And you're
But
doing the
then
things,
but it's
you're
doing the
doing the
things.
things.
And where do
Yeah,
those things come from? Well, they're all man-made. They're all just traditions. They're all just human traditions.
yeah,
If it wasn't that, then the salvation, the act of salvation would not be as simple as you choosing to believe in God, right? If it was more difficult than that, then we would all have to follow those specific guidelines.
yeah.
But it's not. It's not more difficult than that. You choose to believe that there's a God, and that's, depending on what, of course, I know there's going to be religious people, throwing their
Correct.
arms up about it. But the reality is, you know, you don't really you don't really know, right? The faith aspect of it is I'm putting faith not only in God, but I'm also placing an incredible amount of faith in the people who are describing and teaching me about the nature of God.
Correct.
And I'm trusting that whoever taught them wasn't, you know, off somewhere, right? Like lost in
Correct.
translation down the road. And I think you nailed it. The relationship of it is, um, I'm not in junior high with God. If I want to talk to God, I don't ask my friend to pass a note to him. You know,
Correct. Yeah. Well
why
said.
why would I why
Yeah.
would I do that with anybody else on earth? if
Absolutely.
if my rights are created by God, then that's who I go to talk about them.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
What?
And so that's why, and I feel like and you said it, we go one day a week, you go on a Sunday and all that. That's great and all. But then what are you doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? How do you spend time with God? What is spending time with God? Right? Like all these things, what's praying, like, how do you pray? What did it even
Yeah,
sound like, look like?
yeah,
Reading the Bible. What is
yep,
the, like, understanding the Bible, right? So all
yep.
these things I wish you just had a crash course on to show people like, hey, here are, easing people into the process of like, hey, this is what it is, this is what it's not, this is what, let's have these conversations um at church. But I think more than that, also it's meeting people where they're at is what I've noticed is a big gap as well.
Well, let's
Because people that
before we move on though, you said a
yeah,
word, and I think it owes its own section here. Church. Let's talk about church. What is church?
yeah, it's not four walls, that's for
It's
sure.
definitely not, right?
No.
Church is the body, right?
Yeah.
It's
Me and
it's
you
the
right now,
people.
man.
It's
Me and
me
you
and you
are
right
that's
now,
it, chopping it up, putting God on the airwaves and just
figuring it
chopping it
out.
up. Yeah.
And I don't have all the answers.
No.
I don't understand the
That's the
full na
thing
I mean,
at
bro,
all. Not even
like,
close.
not even fathom the tip of the iceberg on it, but I'm compelled to believe, and so I do, and I live then as if I am created, and I live as if you're created too,
Yeah.
and if we're both specifically created, it doesn't matter what differences we have. Who am I to question how God created you, and who are you to question how God created me? You know?
Correct.
I think there's, that's a broad brush, obviously. There's nuance to it.
Yeah.
But it
But
in
I think that's
general,
also great. But I think that's great to help people out with because how many times do we hear people say, yeah, I believe in God. Yeah, I pray. I go to church. And they're just scumbags, and they're just, and I get it. I was around family members where we're more concerned about kissing the bread and throwing it away as opposed to gossiping
right,
about people,
right.
and talking
Especially
trash.
gossip disguised as prayer, right? God,
Oh
we
man.
lift up Andy right now who's struggling with thoughts of drugs and alcohol and
Yeah, right.
women.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, you're
And
right.
dude, it's
Yeah.
like,
That's
that's not
funny.
a prayer. You're just putting me on blast in front of
That's funny you said that. Yeah. People do that, man.
It's
So
terrible.
I think, yeah, I think helping people understand these things, and to what relationship and what being guided is and all these things, is I wish there was more of a structured way than just show up to church once a week and then hopefully your church nails it down. Because if that's such a loosey goosey way,
Well,
that so
look,
many variables can happen. You can go to the wrong church, wrong pastor, wrong city, whatever, wrong people. And then it's like, then that's it. People are done.
I think I have probably a little bit of a controversial opinion on this, but I think the idea of structured church and organized religion is an absolute scam, and I think it's a corporation.
Yeah.
I
They
think
missed the
it's
mark a lot of times.
I
Yeah.
mean, it is taking advantage of a couple of cherry-picked scriptures to keep people viewing them as the authority when the authority is above us all. And I'm not saying that people that get up there and preach and stuff, I'm not saying that some of them aren't great, amazing people. I'm not saying that they don't love, God fiercely and passionately. But if I needed you as an a person to go between me and God, then what's Christ for?
Exactly. And I think sometimes, yeah, you're right. I see where
So
you're going. Yeah.
and I don't need you to tell me who Christ is to me. I don't need you to explain that to me. There's no mystery there. The only time it gets confusing is when I hold it up to the rules that the church gave me. And then I go, "Oh, well, I feel like God's telling me this, but they're telling me this." Who cares what
I
they're
know.
telling you? They shouldn't be
Right.
telling anybody anything. They should be keeping it to themselves, you know, and
Yep.
and praying for you. But I mean, dude, like it's a breeding ground for legalism and judgment
Yeah.
and
Manipulation, all that
manipulation.
stuff. Yeah, man.
And, like I got a buddy who just told me, he came to me and he said his church is running a campaign right now to raise $30 million to build a new building. And I was like, a campaign? Like where is a campaign in the Bible?
Yeah.
Where is the campaign even in relationships? A campaign is a sales pitch.
Yeah.
right? And 30 mil, you can't think of a better thing to do for God's children on this earth with $30 million than build a nice new building for yourself. I think that is rough. That's a rough thing to reconcile for me.
Yeah. It's rough because the majority of people don't do it. I don't think they do it the right way with things. Yes, we do want the church thriving. We do want,
But what does that
but you're
mean?
right. It's
What
a
does that
fine
mean though?
line between having things that do we need certain things to actually
Well,
execute, and where's that money going? Yeah.
let's talk about responsibility alone in a relationship, right? We don't even have to talk about church now. What's your responsibility? Well, if you think about relationships and you think about responsibility, neither of them are tied to a building, and most of them are not tied to any sort of leadership structure, right? It's
Yeah.
me and you, right? So, what's my responsibility to you? It's to reach out to you, it's to pull you in my arms sometimes. It's to call you and ask how you're doing. It's to let
Oh,
you
that connection, right? That
love me.
community.
That's
Yeah.
it. That should be happening everywhere all the time. But what we do is instead is we finally tentatively convince our neighbor to come to the church that we go to because our pastor's great. And we go, God, I hope my pastor convinces him to accept the Lord and stay at this church. And that's not
Mhm.
discipleship. That's literally a handoff. That's a passing of the buck. That changes
Mhm.
that's us shirking our responsibility.
Also, you're saying we're passing on the buck to the church as opposed to me connecting with that person,
Right.
right? One on one.
What does the Great Commission say?
Yeah, make disciples.
Go forth and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in my name and teaching them,
Yeah.
these things that I've given you. And that wasn't for the pastors. The word pastor is not even in the Bible. It's related to the word pasture, which is more has to do with shepherding a flock of sheep.
Mhm.
But shepherding a flock of sheep doesn't mean cramming them all. It's about their safety and taking care of them, right? And
So,
so I,
so you're thinking, yeah, you're like more, yeah, I'm on the book of Acts right now, and I'm
yeah,
seeing that, right? Is that what you're thinking? Like, hey guys, more community, more like, guys, this is what it's about, man.
right, because
And
immediately what happened, right?
yeah,
Immediately what and then and depending on your view of when the books were written and if they're
correct.
historically like locked to the events. But let's say that they are literally telling the story of immediately after Christ died and then ascended, right? The first thing everyone did was they started going, well, I'm a disciple of Paul, and I'm a disciple of him, and I'm a disciple of him. You know what I mean? They all picked a new leader because
Mm.
the leader was gone. So it's like, well, now my version of how you get to Christ comes from Paul, and your version is how you get to Christ through Peter, and your version, and it's like, no, 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 you're immediately missing the mark. It's everybody. It's all of our responsibility to love each other. We are all created in God's image,
Yeah. Even the
right?
people we don't like, that was one of the hardest things to realize is, man, the people I don't like, oh,
Yeah.
God loves them just as much as he loves me. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that's also it's interesting that you say that because in my life I've, the walls I built, especially when I was younger, I don't like a lot of people. Like I've had issues
And
liking
it's
people.
okay.
But
It's okay. We don't have to,
that's honest, right? Like I love people and
we got to love them,
I
but
would
we don't
lose
have to
the
like
shirt off my
everybody.
back, but I don't like everyone, right? I don't like a lot of people.
That's so funny.
So
Yeah.
so
True
a
though.
lot of times when I'm talking to my wife, I tell her, I love you, babe. But more than that, I really like you.
No, no way, dude. That's awesome. I
I tell
love
her
that.
that all the time.
That's dope.
And she knows how special that is. Right?
Yeah. That's true.
Right?
Liking someone, that's a choice right there, bro.
It's a
You're
choice.
right.
It's a
Yeah.
choice. And especially when you know someone as well as we know each other, and then to say, I know this much about you and I really like you,
Mm,
that's a special thing to me.
that's cool, actually. Yeah. I like that. That is pretty cool.
So anyway, I didn't mean to get up on a soapbox about that, but I think it's
No, but I
interesting.
think that's the community piece because we're doing it now. We have a nonprofit. I'm here in Miami. We've spoken about this where we're trying to bridge gaps that we're seeing in the churches. So
Yeah.
instead of complaining about it, which I have been for a long time,
Yeah.
and seeing limitation to the church, right? in those four walls. I'm like, you know what? And God called me now out of church to go to the marketplace, to go to the
Yep.
streets, to
Yep.
go meet men where they're at and just be that connection point, have God use us, whether it's to pray, to pay, to get them therapy, to get them housing, to just hang out, like you said, just connect. Don't offset that to somebody else. Like, let's be the extension of the church.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things, and that's a new season now that God's also calling me into, out of
It's
church
so
into the
important.
marketplace. In the real estate world now, a new model. In the wellness space, a new model. So all these new models, like new models to me that I've seen, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And it's
that's
so
that
important. I mean, dude, and like I said, I used to go play in bars, playing the same Christian music that we would play for
at bars.
at bars, right? Sometimes we would, if it was late enough and there was only a few drunk patrons left, we would bust into our worship sets,
That's
because why
awesome.
not? Right. And then you'd come off stage and you'd be talking to someone who had no walls and no filters left because they'd been just hammering drinks all night. Right. And they're
Yep.
telling you their whole life story and they're sobbing, literally sobbing on you because someone loves them and is sitting there listening to them. And then I go to church and someone's going, um, do you think you and your family could move? This is where we sit every week.
Dang, man. I know.
You know what I
Missed
mean?
the
Like,
mark. I
come
know.
on,
We
bro.
missed the mark.
You missed it.
Yep.
And so I think the other place that we miss it is in holding non-believers to the standards that we have chosen for ourselves, right? So someone who
Mm,
hasn't accepted or who doesn't choose Christ as a life, they're not held to the Christ
they're not.
standards because they haven't
They
chosen
don't.
that. So for us
Correct.
to go in there and go, "Oh, you're a sinner and it's like, "Oh, okay." They're not telling you
Yeah.
otherwise.
They don't care.
They don't
You have
care.
no. You have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah.
All they think is you're a judgmental Christian like everyone else, right?
Mm.
When do we get back to the love? Right? When do we get back to the humility? Like being childlike, embracing innocence rather than moving through it so quickly that we harden overnight.
So true.
Like,
Because kids do that. Kids just love on you, and they don't
dude,
ask for permission. They're like, "Hey, you want
yeah,
to play?
it's wild.
Hey."
It's
Yeah.
wild. Yeah. I mean, dude, my kids used to go to everyone. Like we'd have to constantly keep a hawk eye on them because they would just disappear with another family somewhere.
That's so
Like,
awesome.
but it's great, right? It's how we're supposed to be. It's how humans are supposed to be.
Yeah.
So we
And
get
I'm glad you
into
said that, because sometimes I struggle with that. Early in my
yeah,
walk a couple years ago, was holding the standard to non-believers, and it's like, no, even it says it in the Bible also, like, don't.
yeah,
Like, another believer, yes, there's accountability to one another. You're another believer, we hold each other accountable, absolutely. But to the non-believer, man, we got to meet them where they're at, love on them, dude, and just, like, they don't know anything, they don't know,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
so
It's
yeah.
probably at this point, it's probably been 15 or 16 years since I regularly attended church,
Oh yeah.
a church building. But I have never been in church more since I stopped doing that. I've never been in it more. I've never been face to face loving people more. I get to
Mm.
love I get to love people at work. I get to love people in my jiu-jitsu community. I get to love people through the podcast. I get to love people through my kids. I get to love it through music. I get to love people through everything now. And when
Mm.
you talk about transitional seasons, right? Like I came through this season where I literally intentionally stripped off all this armor that had built a wall between me and people. For my whole life, I'd been wearing it since I was a kid, before it was even too big to fit me.
What, a hardened heart to
Just,
people, or
just
like what?
no, not even an opportunity to get through. I was protected, and I protected people. I was a sentinel, but
Mm.
there was always that distance. And the older I got and the stronger I got, the thicker that armor got because I was able to carry more. Right. to eventually strip that off to the place where, like, imagine carrying a backpack that weighed 100 pounds for a year.
Fountain. Yeah.
What would it feel like when you put it down? I carried it until I was in my 40s,
Mm.
hundreds of pounds, so much weight, and to peel the first piece off. So
Did you take that off yourself, or was that forced off?
no, I started taking it off myself because I got to a place where a couple of things happened in a row. I um I found out about enneagrams. And so I found out what enneagram number I was, which led me down the path of figuring out the whole analogy about the armor and, and all that. Because I'm an enneagram 8.
All right.
Um I listened, there's a guy who made up, I talked about this a little bit on another episode, but there's a guy who made up songs for every enneagram number. So he wrote a song for each one. And I'm putting this out as a disclaimer.
Let's go.
Uh it is
Let's hear it.
it's a beautiful experience, and it is absolutely excruciating.
Really?
It
But
was
why though?
because for someone who lived behind 6 feet of armor in front of everything they did, to have somebody look right into your soul, right past everything, and hit you in the heart because you opened, yeah, I felt like I opened the little flap on the helmet and it came through and got me.
Really? So the Enneagram, what's the Cliff Notes version of that? That's like your personality, like that's your kind of, what is that?
It's the Enneagram actually describes to you what sort of things happened in your childhood typically that led to you developing the personality that you have. And
Mm,
it also talks about, like, um how your personality shifts and adjusts when you're stressed, how it shifts and adjusts when you're healthy, like all these different aspects of it, right? And so I literally was just like listening, I started listening to the song, and and it literally, I closed my eyes, and the first couple of lines of the song were, I was a basically I was a small child who went and found a suit of armor and put it on and it fit.
mm.
And so I stayed unavailable to everyone. Everyone.
Personally, business
Per
wise,
Every
everything,
single
everything,
human being only could get within a certain distance, right?
without you knowing about it. This was just the way you operated. You had no
Standard
idea. You know what
operating
I mean?
procedure. No
Okay.
awareness of it, right? I just know that I'm compelled to protect people, and I know that I can't take pain. I need to protect myself. I can't take it. So I learned about the Enneagram. I started doing jujitsu. And when I started doing jujitsu, I was unbelievably out of shape, just, you know, 60, 70 pounds overweight that I'd been carrying for 20 years. I couldn't touch my knees. I couldn't, like, let alone my toes.
Dang.
I was destroyed, and jujitsu completely rebuilt me, like crazy. Even those two things, what they did was the Enneagram taught me the awareness, right? Like, here's something that you're not aware of that explains things that you probably have struggled with without knowing why, right? So, awareness, which I've always been someone who wants the raw, hard truth no matter what, just like, do not pad it, do not, 'cause why not? It's going to bounce, most of it's going to bounce off the armor and I'll assimilate what I want, right? So that taught me awareness. Jujitsu taught me that I was dead wrong about most of my ideas about myself.
Like, what do you
It
mean?
turns out, not only can I take a little bit of pain, I can take quite a bit of it. Um, Not only can I take it, I can absorb it. I can deflect it. I can choose where it goes. I can choose how I experience it. It doesn't
Mm,
define me. It is an ancillary thing that I get to process the way I want to,
dang. That
right?
alone could be a podcast right there.
Unbelievable, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, think of the mindset shift from that, right? Like, all of a sudden you think you can't, you're claustrophobic and you're weak and you're out of shape and and then all of a sudden, none of those things are true. So I
True.
went, oh, okay. Okay. So maybe I don't have to be as guarded, but how do I start taking this armor off? And then the third piece was Michelle. She was like, look, I trust you. Not just I love you, not just I like you. I trust you. And if she's going to trust me, I got to let her get close. I can't. How can I not? How can I not do that? So I started tearing it off. And every piece I felt lighter. And I'm not, dude, I won't BS you. I'm not sitting here armorless, right? I still
Right.
got some key
Yeah, I'm
pieces
sure there's
in
blind spots that obviously we always
you
got blind
know,
spots, man.
that you
Yeah.
got them. You got them. And I'll tell you, having taken the armor off, I've taken some real big emotional hits. Some
Right.
real big ones, like out of left field things. I had no idea how to eat, what to even expect because I had never had to worry about it before. And now I took down the walls and I let people through and it was like, bam. Oh God, this is awful. This is what this is why I was wearing the armor. Like
Wow.
I didn't want to feel this, but it turns out that's not true either. I did want to feel it. And having gone through that transformation from believing I was weak and headed down the path to a really horrible end of my life into a meaningless death, leeching off other people and making other people take care of me. I have a complete 180 life now. And my belief in God has never been stronger.
Since that,
But
how long ago was that? When was this like season?
I learned about the Enneagram probably 5 or 6 years ago. I started doing jiu-jitsu 7.5 years ago. And I married Michelle 15 years ago. So the order that I gave them to you in was actually in reverse. But I didn't realize that until after the walls were completely down.
That crazy how you see the dots connect after. You're like, oh, wait, that had to do
Yeah.
with that. And
That was
then
that. Oh, that was that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I totally, I think too, I met you right after
Yeah,
you
I'm
had,
trying to think. Yeah, because
it was
when the
because it was at an EXP con, but it must have been at the first one back because I still have pictures of it. I'm sure I could find the pictures, but it was so funny because I remember I was in the studio, right? They had bought a studio and I was recording live podcast episodes with like Glenn and all these guys out of the studio.
was that the ones that were inside, like
It
the
was
hallways?
inside the inside, right? So it was in a
Yes,
hallway,
yes,
like a little
I
studio in a
remember
hallway with a
that
couch and
clear,
yeah,
like
yeah,
little,
yeah.
yeah.
So people could walk by. It was sick. And I just remember they were booking time for me to record people and we were doing this thing called 5 Minutes of Fire. And
Yes, I remember that.
and so somebody brings this dude in and Andy at this time, he's like bouncing from heel to heel and he's like got all this
Right.
energy. I think I remember you doing like 20 push-ups randomly just at
Probably
in the room.
sounds about right.
You were just like this energy and I was like, dude, I like this guy's energy. And then we started talking and then that's when I found out you were like, yeah, I'm a new Christian, but
Yeah,
it was
right. Because that was
it was,
around the time 5 years ago. Brand
yeah,
new. Right, you're right. It's
yeah,
like,
right around that time.
dang.
So, I mean, dude, you know, what a crazy amount of change that's happened even in both of our lives in those last 5 years, right?
And I didn't realize that we were both going through our thing around that
Yeah.
time,
And we
right?
didn't know. We didn't know. Right. And that's another piece of it, right? Because you do never know. You never know what season someone's in. You don't
You
know what
don't.
they're going through. You can't just count on their energy, right?
Right.
You can't.
Because you don't.
Um,
Yeah, you don't know. If you don't even know what you're going through at times, imagine trying to know what someone else is going through, right? What
dude,
season, what chapter their book they're in at that point, right? Are they in that learning season, that blind spot season, that reckless season? You just don't know. you know?
Yeah. So you get over that hill, right? And hopefully what you have on the other side of that is you have a little more perspective, a little broader sense of experience, a little more maturity and wisdom about the situation. Hopefully you've picked up some new skills, right?
Right?
Um, but then what do you do with it? Right?
Mm,
What do you where do you aim that now?
that's the thing now, right?
Because if you don't have a plan, you're probably going to stagnate. And then what ends up happening, right, is that the luster of the change, right, the honeymoon period weighs off of your transformation, and you go, okay, well now I've got a new perspective, but I have the same shitty life. Like
Mm. Wait a minute. So the honeymoon, that was big. So the honeymoon phase of your change, right? It's a new season or what, you learning something new about yourself or discovery of
yeah,
something,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then you don't implement it
Well,
or you don't
even if
like,
you do, right? Even if you do, right? So you get married and you go on your honeymoon and life you can't even imagine, like the world stops around you,
yeah,
right? And then 10 years down the road, you might throw too sharp of a comment more often than you should at your spouse or what, you know what I mean? Like at some point, the shininess of that, the
mm,
newness of it leads to a familiarity that
sure. Yeah,
there's also comfort and peace in that too, if you can have the right perspective about it. But
yeah.
it's not that shiny thing that it was at the very beginning.
At the beginning. Yeah.
Sort of like when you buy a new car, 3 years in, you're like, I still got to make this payment for 2 more years. I don't even like this car anymore.
But that first couple months, you're like,
You're like, check out my
yeah,
car, and you're calling
yeah,
everyone, right?
yep,
Right. So, so had you had this sort of right, you were kind of doing your thing, right? You were building, you had this new mentality, this new faith in your life, you had all these new things that you were implementing, but you ended up running into some walls with that. Let's talk about that if you don't mind, like just the walls and what led you to the place where you're at now, where you're trying to rebuild.
yeah. So let's go back to where we met, right? That EXP conference. And I was the habit guy, the prospecting guy, that type of coach for real estate agents. And it's funny because the faith was new. I let God in, right? And started a new relationship with God. And it's funny because as soon as you start doing that and walking with God, he's going to start breaking some things down. He's going to start tearing some things apart. Sometimes he'll do it quick. Sometimes it's going to be a slow drip. Um, so I didn't realize it back then how that whole chasing and it's kind of, I look back at it now. You know how we look back at the dots we talked about, how it makes sense. So my life before God back then was chase. I need to self improvement. I'm the one that's in control of my life. Me. This whole I am, which okay, there's power in that. But if you're the God, then what do what else is going to happen? Like everything relies on you. And in the moment you break and all that, who do you go to? You know, so that's when I gave my life to God and all that. I said, all right, I don't know. So God, you run my life for me, please. Show me the way, right? That whole shift of now I'm not chasing. I seek God, right? I seek the kingdom and then everything else obviously will be given upon me. Like, but first just seek God, right? Like a very simple framework. So everything before that, I was chasing women, fame, money, whatever it was. But then at that point, I was done chasing. So then that's when I first met you. I was done chasing in the spiritual realm. But in the business realm, I was teaching chasing, prospecting. I was teaching going after leads, going after, right? And it's funny because little by little, God's like, all right, not only am I going to change your spiritual life, but I'm also going to change your business life.
Mm.
because I'm going to have you create something that's going to mirror the relationship you and I have. But I didn't know that at the moment. And then years later, after you and I met, right? Um, things were just little by little, just being broken down, taken away. I had a very successful habit business, chasing, prospecting business, and all that. But the partnerships I had were with people that were not spiritually on the same level. So that's another thing. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you partnering with? And are they growing with you spiritually? Which is a big component as well. I didn't realize that. I thought, well, if I just have good people in my life, I'm good. But that wasn't the case,
Yeah.
because the people that I had back then were amazing people, but just spiritually, they just weren't on the same level as to what they were going, and what they wanted to do, and and even believing in God, even. So the more I started to grow spiritually, the business relationship and the business model was just breaking into pieces, completely breaking into pieces, until we reached a point where I just had to get out of the business. I had to.
Wow.
But it was all by design. God was like finally waiting for me to let that business go, and also for me to get kicked out of the business. Because sometimes you hold on to things, and then if
Sure.
God sees that you're not letting it go, he'll get you fired. He'll have people dump you. He'll have people want to leave you. And those are also blessings. Those are also amazing things. Like you said, that's pain that comes, but it's like, what do you decide to do with that? Like, wait, this is a loss, but is it a loss? Like, what's happening in this detachment? So the business went under, the business model changed. Um, and then I had to take a seat for about a year or so, get out of real estate. Right. And then you and I think at that point we weren't talking anymore. I kind of just got out of the EXP and all that whole world and everything. And so we went through a pause. And then in that pause of a season, now God put me into the wellness space, which that started my wellness journey. Now, like, we could talk about that as well at some point.
We
And
should.
then reintroduced me to a new business model in real estate a year after that, where now he has me help real estate agents not chase anymore, but attract business to them.
Mm.
And it was all God divine. The ideas, the partnerships, the framework, everything came through vision with God and putting him first and making him my business partner. And then God started connecting me in the business arena. And then now that's what I'm launching right now as we speak. As we're filming this right now, the ads are going out like literally this weekend. Launching, we're opening it up, and it's literally attraction. And that's literally what it is. It's literally no more living a life of chasing.
Yeah.
It's literally living a life of attraction. And now my business is resembling that as well, which is pretty amazing. I didn't know it back then that I was chasing, but I was chasing, prospecting and all. And I was chasing people, and I was chasing validation, and I was still chasing that. And God's like, we don't chase here, man. Like, we don't chase here. When you believe in God and you walk with him, you don't chase. You chase him only. Go after him. Everything else, it's coming to you. It's a whole
Yeah.
different model. So it's
Yeah.
pretty interesting how that worked out that way.
And just a general principle for life, right? Like, how exhausting to just be constantly chasing,
And
right?
it's so exhausting.
And then
Yeah.
eventually when you stop chasing and you start attracting, it's like, "Oh, all this is coming to me?" Like, I don't have to, like, I could literally just sit right here and it'll come to me? Why
And I know,
why haven't I been
and
doing that?
it sounds like procrastinating, because the worldly voice in your head or someone listening to this, guys, I'm a habit coach. It's what I did for years. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, wait, attraction sounds like procrastinating. Attraction doesn't sound like hustle. I'm so used to hustling, 5 a.m. Let's go. You got to crush it. Like, yes, there is a lane for obedience and habits and structure. Absolutely. I'm not dismissing that. But when that becomes your only, and I think as a culture, we've got into this hustle culture. You gotta, you gotta work 70, 80 hours a week for the next 5, 10 years. Forget about your family. They'll thank you later type of mindset, and that type of entrepreneurial spirit that I started adopting myself and teaching. I was kind of like, wow. And I'm like, okay, this is why my life went into shambles in so many directions. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I'm glad you found that switch, right? I think it's gonna
yeah,
be much better for your overall health and energy. And speaking of that,
yeah.
yeah, you mentioned it. Let's talk about it. You've only cryptically said the word wellness to me a couple of times, so I don't even know what the whole thing is, but talk to us about that.
So yeah, last year, 2025, when I left the real estate space temporarily, um, pretty much kicked out of it against my will, but also realizing there was a piece to it too. And when people leave you and you get kicked out, but you're good with it, right? Because
Yeah.
also I didn't have the courage to actually break up and leave people. Sometimes my old people pleasing ways kind of still stay. And that's one thing I'm working on that God's working on me as well is to just do what be led, and who cares whose feelings you may think you're hurting. If you're walking in God's purpose on purpose, like, hey, if people don't like it, oh well,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do about it? Um, and then so when I took a seat out of real estate, put a pause on that, I thought I was gonna start helping people get closer to God with habits, helping people create the right habits to spend time with God, because how can you know a God you don't spend time with? And how can you spend time with a God that your habits suck and you don't carve out time to spend time with him and
Yeah.
to get to know him? It's like you can talk about Michelle all day long, Randy, but if you don't spend time with Michelle, then what are you doing?
Right.
Right? Like you can text her all you want. You can call her all you want. That's all. That's great and all. But at some point, she wants one-on-one time with you,
Right.
right? Face-to-face time with you, intimate time with you
Well, you have to
to
have
build
it.
the one.
You can't have a relationship without that.
Yeah.
You
And
can't.
so I thought I was going to teach that with habits, and I had these habits on purpose, and I still do. But I was like, yes, I was ready to do it. But God's like, no, 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 you're not going to do that yet. For two reasons. One, I was too religious. I was in church a lot, doing that in my journey, which served me, but I started becoming too religious. So the way I spoke was very churchanese. We call that, like talking
Yeah.
about the sanctification of the lamb and the blood of the lamb
Right.
and this. And God's like, chill, dude. Like, that's not how you're going to win people over. You're going to scare them away. That's not how Jesus spoke. Stop. Learn how Jesus spoke. And so I started taking mentorship from the kingdom world. Miles Monroe is one of my mentors who it's amazing. Like, started learning about how to truly get to know who Jesus is and what the kingdom is and what God is. So all that stuff. That could be another conversation.
Right.
Um, so I thought I was going to come out and do the habits on purpose stuff, but then God's like, no, you're going to learn about wellness. And I, what? Wellness? So he put me on, in a world about learning how Western medicine has failed us. Doctors do not get to the root cause of things.
Yeah.
There's ways to get to the root cause on a cellular level about, toxicity, inflammation, peptides, man, this whole world of like, just there's ways to get to the root cause on things. There's a way to live a life, not just normal living. I love this here. Normal is not optimal.
Right.
And I love that because people have normalized, well, I'm 45. This is just the way you are. Like, no, that's not optimal. We were not designed to live normal. We need to live an optimal life. And so
Right.
I got into the wellness world, and that's the journey I'm on, because brain fog and fatigue were two things I've been struggling with and no one really knew about for the past 10 years, I would say, that
Yeah.
you wouldn't know because I'm so, hey, I got this energy, but
Yeah.
but that's when I'm in public. But when I'm by myself, living my life and all that, and wake up in the morning, I felt this cloud throughout the day. I sit down and falling asleep at my desk, and then the brain fog got worse in my 40s. When I turned 40, I noticed my brain fog got connecting dots. It got harder to think. It got
Yeah.
harder to come up with ideas. And I thought it was spiritual at first, but then I realized when I got into the wellness space, no, it's the foods we're eating, toxicity, the plastics,
Yeah.
all the stuff that I thought I would sound crazy saying if I would have listened to this podcast 2 years ago. I would be like, bro, that guy he's crazy, dude. Like
Well,
so
it's a
then I got
different
into the
time.
well.
We're in a different time right now. There's a lot of people talking about this. It's It feels like on a human level, the disclosure is starting to peek through, right? The old shadows that were put there to keep us from seeing what was going on are starting to dissipate and fade,
right? I'm
and
seeing that.
we're getting
Yeah,
access to more. And so
right? I
it's
feel like we're
the time.
awakening.
We are.
Yeah,
And that's why I told everybody I started the podcast was like, look, there's going to be a million other people who start podcasts, and God bless them. Are they having authentic conversations? They're not my competition. They're my brothers and sisters. This is what I
yep,
want. I want people talking. I don't care if I become Joe Rogan. That's not a
right.
goal for me, right? My goal is every week I want to get on here and I want to talk about real shit with people who are living real lives,
With real
and
struggles,
with real
with
struggles and
real,
being
like, as it's happening, not like
yes,
struggles from 20 years ago. Like, no,
yes,
like this, like now struggles. Yeah,
yes. So if I don't give you an option, if I don't have any answers for you, someone else probably does. And I am over the moon with that. I hope that you find what you're looking for, right? Because it's not about possession for me. It's about I want us all to be healthy. I want us
amen,
all
bro.
to live good lives together, you know?
Yep. Physically, financially, spiritually. And that's
Right.
another thing about the church and us being believers. We need to be in great shape, financially in great shape, spiritually, because that's another thing. Like, yeah, we talk about, I believe in God, but then we're broke.
Well,
And
it
then,
comes down
or
to
I believe in God.
stewardship, right?
Yeah. Like, or
It's
we're
all about
not healthy.
right.
Yeah.
The stewardship. What are we
Yep.
taking care of it? Are we taking care of what we've been given?
Yep.
Right? Our body, our resources, our blessings, are we taking care of them? And I'm with you, man. So what did you come up with? What are you doing to combat that? What's the
We're now, do you hear a sound, by the way? I hear like a background or no?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in my background probably.
Okay. Okay. Want to make sure it's not like a technicality. So,
We get trains around here a lot.
oh, do you? Okay, okay. I want to make sure it's not like a background like sound
No,
on
no,
this.
you're good.
So the biggest piece right now, what I'm doing is first detaching myself from Western medicine, right? Not completely, but just understanding its breaking points, right? Like that it doesn't serve me. And I've been now connected to people that are now functional, functional doctors, functional medicine, open to supplements, to peptides, and then so now doing blood work. So I literally started a protocol or a treatment, whatever you want to call it, past couple months that I do blood work, making sure I'm eating and my lifestyle, my habits are in alignment with the blood work that's given, right? And then supplements as needed, and then peptides as needed. I literally just started this whole process recently,
Mhm.
and I would say like the brain fog has gone up. I mean, it's gone down, 10, 20%. My energy has gone up like 10, 20%. So I'm seeing the uptick
Yeah.
in the sense, I've lost, a lot of weight since the last time you and I see each other. I probably
Yeah.
lost, 20 plus pounds,
Yeah.
um, that I've lost. And so my health, inflammation has gone down quite a bit. So doing these small little things, environmental changes as well, where like plastics, reverse osmosis water, all these things that I'm like, man, it sounded like a bunch of BS, to me years ago. I'm doing it, I'm drinking it, and then staying away from, the basic stuff of processed foods and all that kind of stuff. So kind of
Sure.
a mix of a little things, but now beginning that journey because I want to be the billboard for people to say, hey, look where I'm at now. And
Yeah.
then once I try these, because I'm a big risk taker, right? My name, Andrew, Andy, Andres, Andrew in the Bible, one of the disciples, he's an early risk taker. He left John the Baptist to go with Jesus once John the Baptist says, hey, that's the guy. So Andrew's one of the first two that left, right? So we're big risk takers and we're connectors, right? So Andrew was a connector, connected a lot of people to Jesus, and it was great. So I'm a connector. So I want to learn things, and then I want to connect, like you do, connect people to a message or people to programs or people to other whatever it is.
Yeah.
So as I go through my journey and I document it, because I'm documenting the journey as well, I want people, my mom doesn't know it. Well, she's, little by little, but she's going to get on this journey with me as well, because I'm seeing her health go in a different direction.
Sure,
And
sure.
mom's beginning to get open to it so I can help people go in that direction. and get the help that they need. Not through me, but in the sense of like, this is who I use, this is where I would go, try these things, go see these professionals because I'm doing it under doctor supervision. It's not like I'm doing it under my own, or under an influencer type of thing. So I am still getting professional supervision as I'm doing it, but it's a beautiful journey to be on, knowing you're getting better, right? Like that's the beautiful part. Like when you're walking with God, like it's not easy, but it's knowing you're getting better, knowing you're with him, that no matter what's going to happen, things are going to be more than fine. Same thing with health, like knowing that my health is just getting better, and I'm being in alignment spiritually in my health, my business, and all that. It's just a beautiful thing. All the dots connecting, that God's connecting in all the different areas.
I
It's all
love that.
happening. It's all
So
happening right now.
so you said you're documenting it. Is it someplace that people can follow along your journey, or are you just documenting it personally for now?
Yeah, personally, I have my Claude, my AI. I'm just writing everything in there, uploading all my blood work in there, so we can see like how my biomarkers have improved and all my KPIs. I like to call it, so
Yeah.
are improving. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, so what's the overall vision? What's the next, like, I guess I'll ask it this way. I know we're talking about we were talking about, pressed but not crushed. But I always use this question that I stole from Michael Valdez actually. Um
Michael Valdez, haven't heard that name in a while, man. How's he
yeah,
doing? Have you spoken to him?
I
Haven't heard
haven't
from him in a
talked to
while.
him recently. But when he was still at EXP, I was producing his podcast. So he used to ask this question, and I just thought it was a great question. So uh if you were writing the book of your life, what is this chapter called?
I'm writing the book of my life. This chapter,
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you exactly what it's called. It's called Good Kills.
Okay.
Good Kills. Because I'm writing a book on what's happening right now, on it, and it's called Good Kills, I would call it.
Okay. Okay.
Where mediocrity, being comfortable, is the worst thing that could happen to me. I don't have
Yeah.
a testimony that's like, bro, I grew up in the struggle, man. My family, we had nothing to eat. Like, dude,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not my testimony.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had some traumatic things happen that were like pretty, like we can get, but that's not my testimony. Is I've always been good.
Yeah.
And that's what killed me, because I was always okay in shape, okay with income, okay. And I would say good kills. And I think society kind of does that to us, where you can have some of God, but some of this. You can have some health, but some disease. You can have some, and then you just kind of float around your whole life. Oh, you have an okay relationship, a good relationship. So that middle ground is the most dangerous place you can be. Because when you're frustrated, that's a good place to be, because you'll move when you're
Yeah.
frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
You're,
motivated.
you're agitated. Yeah. When you're motivated, you're agitated. That's a good place to be, because you're not happy where you're at. That's a really good place to be. So I would say, yeah, good kills
It's
is
so interesting. I hear good kills, and like instantly my head went to when you're hunting, and I don't even, have you ever hunted before? Like hunted animals?
no. I tried to and I failed miserably.
So when you take a shot as a hunter, it's important that you're a good shot, right? That you are actually hitting what you're aiming for, because you aim for very specific parts of the body on an animal so that the it'll be clean, it'll be quick, they're not gonna suffer, they're not gonna bolt and
Mm,
die 5 miles away, and
yeah.
when you hit that spot and it's right, that's a good kill,
Oh,
right? So, I also think that part of that title is powerful because it talks about precision and it talks about hitting the mark.
bro.
I like it.
I like that, man. How about you, man? What season right now? What's the name of the season right now that you're in?
Um, it's probably something like I can't believe I ended up here. Like, whoa, how much better could it possibly get? Something along those lines. How much better can this get? Right.
Wow.
Um, but I'm also writing a book. I decided that I was going to write the Sweeter After Difficulty book so that
Yes.
I could talk about all the lessons in my life that I turned into opportunities to be sweeter on the other side of. Right. So I'm with you. Um, Having come through some things and like we were just talking about, I just, you know, I'm creeping up on 50. I just got my black belt in jiu-jitsu, right? I'm having a blast doing this podcast and getting to stay connected to people like you that I love. I'm getting to do something that I'm grateful and happy for. And on top of just doing this, now I'm also doing Apex podcast with my business partner, and we're producing podcasts and helping other people build their content and become authentic communicators. So it's kind of coaching in a way, which is something I never thought that I would do, but I'm really enjoying it. So I think um maybe coaching with a question mark and could be a
Coaching
possible
question
one.
mark?
Yeah, could be a possible one. Um, I get to teach a couple of days a week at jujitsu now. And so it's really cool for me to be able to contribute and to help people achieve what they want in this kind of a platform, especially when it doesn't come natural to most people. You know, everybody
What do
wants
you
to
like
start a,
coaching the most? Yeah, what do you like coaching the most?
honestly, my favorite thing is being able to um be an ear and a voice of reason for people that are going through something that I went through. So
Ooh.
what, like for instance, I have a friend who just finished going through a divorce, and it's, it's fairly acrimonious, like your average divorce. Like it's not good. There's fighting and there's kids involved and there's all that stuff. But having gone through that myself all those years back, now I'm in a place where I go, okay, there's no way that you have any idea that the sun's even going to shine again, but I promise you it will. Right? I promise.
Mm.
This is not the end of the
So
story.
being there for who you used to be
Yeah.
years ago,
Yeah.
being that
Yeah.
being that person for that person.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Helping people out is cool. Like I love doing jujitsu and I love coaching people because I love jujitsu, right? And I love coaching people in podcasting because I love to see people like open up and tell their real stories. There's nothing better than watching somebody come in having intentions to not talk about something, and then without me even saying anything, they just all of a sudden feel comfortable enough in the conversation to talk about things. Like that's a huge compliment to me, right?
Yeah.
Like we're safe here.
Yeah, that's a
And
gift. That's a gift you have for
it's a
sure.
great
Yeah.
feeling, I love it.
Yeah.
But having someone in the middle of a horrible season of their life and being able to go, "Hey, I'm here. I got you, bro. Call me as much as you need to." You know,
I love that.
repeat your stories if you have to. Call and scream about what you're frustrated about. But no,
And have the patience to understand that was you. Because
that was
funny you
me.
said that because I was talking to someone yesterday and I was beginning to get frustrated. And it sucks because, and God convicted me today and he says, Andy, you're frustrated because that's exactly how you used to think. And you're
Yeah,
mad because he's stuck, right? He used to suffer from anxiety and being stuck and ruminating thoughts over and over and over and over
yeah,
again.
yeah,
And he says, but you got to understand that was you. So just be there and be there just like the people were there for you, listening to your same crap over and over and over until obviously you went through the
yeah,
breakthrough with me.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So I'm glad you said that because I hear you say that, and then I'm like, dang it! But I got frustrated with someone yesterday. Not to them, I did it. It was in my
No,
mind. I did it. I
no.
didn't get frustrated to that, but I wanted to chew them out in my head, like what the f, bro, and this
Yeah,
and that. But like, because like, no, man, like just be there, give insight, but give space, like you
yeah,
said, be an ear, right,
yeah,
and help guide people through that exact moment because that was you. exactly you. And I'm like, dang it, you're right. So
And
I'm glad you said that.
it even got a little deeper for me because when I went through that, I had no one. Like, there was no one to
Oh,
relate to
really?
it. There
Like it
was no
was,
one that could understood it. There was no one that could help. It was a bad time, and so what I'm actually trying to do is I'm trying to be the person that I wish I had, that I needed in that time,
mm,
you know? And so that's a little more motivating for me in those times when I go, "Oh, man, I don't wanna answer this call. It's gonna be an hour and a half of him telling
I
me the
know.
same thing
I
again," you know?
know, right? You're like,
But
dude, I
then I
know.
go then I go, "But you know what? If I was sitting at home, kinda clutching my chest, feeling anxious, having another panic attack creep up, I would need somebody to answer the phone for me," you know?
Yep.
And that to me, I would rather just sit and listen than I would go back in time and feel that. You
Man,
know? "Can I
that's so
help you
true.
not feel that today? Then, let's do it, bro. I'm here for you." Um, yeah, dude, it's a it's a beautiful place to be free of the armor, to be vulnerable, and to be excited about it and not be afraid, and to be in a place where I really just I wanna be of service, for the rest of my life. And, so, that's where I'm at, but mostly I'm in a grateful place, you know? If you've ever heard any episodes of the show, for everybody out there listening, thank you for coming back here week after week. I love you and appreciate you so much. My gratitude extends to you absolutely. I hope that you take something away from these conversations. If you haven't had a chance, hit that follow, like, subscribe, share it out, all the stuff for our algorithm. I don't really even care about that. Have authentic conversations and express gratitude. And so every show, Andy, I like to express a little bit of gratitude to the people who are here with me. So now it's your turn. Uh, I'm pretty good at this point in my life of being able to detect the kind of energy that I want in my sphere, right? I'm pretty good at it. And there are people that I've seen slip away and I've kind of just waved to them in my heart of hearts, and there are people that I went, it doesn't matter if we don't talk for a little while, this person's not going anywhere, right? I got to hold on to them. And you're one of those people that I held on to because your energy just imprinted on me immediately. And normally I would say, be careful playing the character, right? Like if you're
Mm,
really exhausted, don't play the energetic character, just be the exhausted, authentic you at that time, right? So let somebody else bless you, maybe. But I'm grateful that you do that with me. You let me pour into you and you pour into me. Your conversations are honest and they're open. I never doubt that you're just telling the absolute truth, and that's my favorite kind of person. So I just want to be grateful for you today. Thank you so much for making time to be on the show and just come chat with me, bro. I love you.
I love you too, bro. Thanks for honoring me, man. Appreciate that more than you know, man. And you're right. We stayed in touch. And the fact that we did, because I know you're a busy man and anyone that does have access to you is important. The same thing with me, because I'm not going to say yes to just anything. And you're one of those guys as well, bro. The
Yeah,
fact that
bro.
we stayed in touch throughout these years, and every time we catch up, dude, it's like, bro, we go deep quick, man.
It's
It's
so
like,
good.
bro, really
It's
quick.
so good.
It's like it could be made up fantasy joke stuff and then like purpose driven like content. Like the range is wide, bro. So thank you so much, man, for
Always.
that, bro. Thanks for that. Thanks for being you, man. And let's go and create this platform, bro.
It's the best. It's the best. Before I
Is
let you
that
go, where can people find you? Where can they plug into what you're doing or keep track of what you got coming?
just I am Andy Rosas. All the handles, social media, Instagram, Facebook, the website. Actually, I think it's live at this point.
Okay.
But I am Andy Rosas. To end it is going to be what God's doing in my life is the I am, which obviously we know biblically means God. But I am is also for those that don't believe in God are very declarative. So it's very like about me, which is fine. And it also shows that God before Andy Rosas. And in the I am Andy Rosas world, it's going to be, real estate, which we spoke about, wellness that we spoke about, and then purpose that we spoke about. People that are
Love
needing
that.
purpose that want to learn how to do that, because I have a heart for it too, like you do. Randy, is to help specifically men that were in the same place that I was, or lost, or drifting and suffering. Cause I feel like men were disconnected, distracted, were numb more than ever.
Yeah.
And now with AI and all this stuff, I feel like we're going to be, this could be another episode at some point
Yeah.
with AI and all that. Like it's going to, we're drifting away. There's a lot of great things about it, but also some things we just got to be aware of, that people are going to have more connections to AI than with other humans, and we're going to drift away from the human element. And we just got to be aware of that. So connecting to God is going to be even more critical, and having community, like you just said, true community is going to be even more critical than more than ever. And that's where the purpose piece is going to come in with the I am Andy Rosas, is to help people connect in those three areas, right? Purpose, real estate, and wellness. Um, so that's going to be what God put in my heart to do. Those are the three, I guess, buckets
Yeah.
that
I love that.
that we'll be talking about throughout the years moving forward, that we'll be doing it. Then you're going to see it evolve, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this evolves with us and with you and what you're doing, and having us come here, and
Yeah.
talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, check the links in the description. Make sure that you plug into what Andy's got going on. And until next week, this has been Sweeter After Difficulty with my buddy Andy Rosas. Thank you so much, Andy.
Awesome, bro.